Going on, y'all? Jordan, another episode of Lightning Latest. So excited for this one. We're going to be talking about a few different things today. Um, uh, don't worry about the Florida dominance. We're going to discuss that as you see right now. But we also got another deep dive on offense, couple winger situations, and what ifs, of course. Y'all know all of those. So we're going to dive right in here. First off, is will the Bolts continue the state of Florida's dominant run? So not Florida. Well, I mean, the Panthers have been on a dominant run, unfortunately. Nobody likes to hear that, but they have been. But will they continue the state's dominance is what we're looking at. And, it's interesting to think about, right? Panthers are looking for back-to-back-to-back Stanley Cups. We obviously don't want that. Nobody does. Their fans have gotten insufferable. The last 2 years, we haven't been able to beat them in the first round. They've beaten us both times. They beat us in 5 games last year. Pretty handily, I might add. And, it just showed a number of things that we had to address in order to get better, right? Because we're going to have to get past the Panthers in order to get to the Stanley Cup. It's almost certain it's going to have to happen that way. The issue is, how much will it take to get there, right? They just re-signed Ekblad. They just re-signed Marchand. They just re-signed Bennett. The core is staying together. They could lose Bob after this year, but, I mean, they could go to another goalie. So, especially with the rising cap. The additions of Holmberg and Pelletier, right, on those third and fourth lines, plus Geeky, Gord, Goncalves, improvement from Geeky, Gord and Goncalves re-signed, Goncalves on the bridge deal, Gord on 6-year deal that will likely take into his retirement. Improvements from Pelletier would help too. Improvements from these young players across the board, I think, would really help push the Bolts to that next level. And that's the key, right? We're going to have to figure out a way to get past the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup, right? So we've beaten the Panthers. Who knows what would have happened last year. We're going to need Vasi to stay locked in, stay healthy, keep him healthy. That's where the 1A goalie situation, 1A and 1B, what might not have been terrible, but, we have a better use of our resources right now. The Panthers hold the key to the conference. If we can't play them consistently strong and well and beat them as well as these other contenders, we're not going to win the Stanley Cup. We're not, because we have to get past them until we can face someone like Edmonton or like Dallas in the finals. All right. Now, the top 4 defensemen as well, they're looking good. We talked about it a couple of days ago, right? They're locked in. But it's after that it's a little dicey. So we could stand to reinforce that third line. We'll be discussing that as well. We're going to be talking about defense a little bit more later on today. So I'm really excited to dive into that with you guys as well. But yeah, to continue our state's dominant run, we're going to have to get past the Panthers. And it's going to be tough. It's been tough the past couple of years. But if all of these additions and re-signings and improvements across the board, if they can all come together and coalesce, I think we got a really, really good shot at making some noise. Speaking of, let's talk about the centers. So, Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul. Right now, Zemgus Girgensons, sorry. Zemgus Girgensons. Pretty sure I got that right. If not, I know one of y'all let me know. It's just, there's just so much going on, and it's one of the best center groups in the league, especially the top 3, right? If we can improve that 4th center, that'd be nice, but we'll see what happens this year. Point is one of the best centers in the league. He just got to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, we got a fighting shot every night. And it's going to be key to keeping him that way because, once we hit the playoffs, a lot of them are going to have to be healthy in order for us to win, right? Yes, we know the depth scoring and, more punch on that third defensive line as well would really help, but the stars got to show up. The stars got to be there. So if Pointer's there, we're going to have a shot. Cirelli, continuing to get better, continuing to get stronger. He's one of the best defensive forwards in the game as well. But offensively, he's continuously impressing me, impressing a lot of us. And he's showing why he was worth that long-term deal he got a couple years ago. So, Nick Paul improved as well last year. Had another solid year, really came into his own, really played some good hockey, showed that he can effectively lead a third line pretty strongly. But it's kind of interesting. Excuse me 1 second. It's interesting to can really think about that fourth spot, right? Gergenson's. He hasn't shown too much, and it would really be nice to upgrade on that. Now, how could we upgrade on that? Well, there's a number of ways we could. We're going to discuss that in the next few weeks. There's still free agents out there that could help this team as well on those depth lines. So, trade targets as well. There's a lot of ways that this team can be improved upon. So, one in particular who I want to discuss in a couple of days is Marco Rossi. Yes, he just re-signed an extension, but hey, took a while, right? So, we're going to continue to talk about building up that depth of the center position and making sure that we can compete when it comes to the playoffs, because the depth scoring is needed. Jurgensen's really hasn't shown much, and, it's just not. If we can improve that fourth line, it would be great. Speaking of two players that we could not see after this year, we got some wingers. Boris Katchouk and Mitchell Chaffee, right? Katchouk, former second round pick by us. He came back on a 1-year deal. This is his third stint with us, right? He was in the minors with us. Second half of the 2021-2022 season. He had 13 points last year with 7 goals, 6 assists, -6 ±. For depth, that's fine. But remember, right? We're trying to improve the depth. We did re-sign him, so that is one way Brew Boy is trying to improve it. But I don't really see him being a big improvement. The Holmberg and the Pellier additions are more. They just mean more. Because they're each longer than a year, Holmberg is 2 years, Pellier is 3. Katchouk just resigned under 1 year. And they're both younger than Katchouk and Chaffee as well. I don't think, unless either of them show improvement this year, like Katchouk's gone again in the summer. Chaffee will be gone as well. He's been in the league 3 years. That included his stint with the Wild in 2021, 2022. Then he was in the minors. Then he came back with us. Last season was his best yet. His second with us. 18 points in 66 games. 12 goals, 6 assists. The plus minus a -3. Not the best, but he's a depth forward. He's a depth winger. So that's why we're trying to improve this position. We're trying to improve this position because in order to win a Stanley Cup, right, we've continuously harped on it. Depth scoring. It's just needed. It has to be addressed. We got to get better there. And if we're not going to be better there, the players maybe shouldn't stay. Maybe Chaffee and Katchouk need to go. Especially Pellier and Holmberg show they can handle an increased role. And Connor Geekie as well. Gage Goncalves as well. So there's a lot of different things at play. But if we have a stronger attack in spite of those two this year, I think they're going to be looking for a new home next season. So we're going to transition, though, to the last spot. Our what if. We love our what ifs. Today is Lane Hutson from Montreal, right? Man, while our top 4 defensemen are strong, right? Hetty, Moser, Chernak, McDonough. They're getting older. McDonough's already going to be 35, 36. Hetty's in his mid-30s. Chernak's just past that, or he's a little in his late 20s. Moser's a restricted free agent, too, so he could go after next year. The goal is to not let him leave. But, it's possible. So, a guy like Lane Hutson makes sense, just like Thomas Harley would make sense. McDonough, Moser, and Darren Radish as well. They're all free agents next summer. But Moser is restricted, so he'll probably be back, especially if he continues to improve. But McDonough could leave, in theory. We don't want him to leave, but he could leave. Radish will probably be gone. We really need to improve the second and third pairings. Well, not only the second, more the third line, right? We talked about Lilleberg and some other guys there. They're just not as strong as it could be. He's going to be 22 next summer, too. So he's going to play the rest of the season at 21, which will be really interesting, like Logan Cooley. He's going to probably fetch a big extension from Montreal, if I had to take a guess. Marty St. Louis, Bolts legend, he's the head coach there now. So he knows what he has in Lane Hudson. Knows he's a special player. Knows that he wants to get better. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Montreal even lets him hit the free agent market. He's going to be the right defenseman of the second pair, most likely, for them. He only played 2 games in the 2023-2024, but really came into his own last year, which is just a true rookie season. 66 points, plus minus a -2. So not bad at all for a rookie, especially someone on the second and third line. This is his 66 points, though, is interesting. Only 6 of those were goals. The other 60 points were via assists. If he could put the puck in the back of the net more, his value would go through the roof. And he'd be, I'm sure every team in the league would be interested in adding Lane Hudson in some capacity. Because he's probably going to be an absolute stud. But if he could score more, he'd be worth so much more. I don't think he's going to leave Montreal. They're building something pretty big there. They're trying to come back from a few rough years. Marty St. Louis really helped build them back. So I think this one's a bit unlikelier than the others, but it would be fun to see. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. We're going to be talking more restricted free agents here tomorrow as well, but trade targets are coming up. And that's going to be even more fun. That's going to be a longer series because there's just so many options in the trade market that the Bolts could go through to help them get better. But yeah, more restricted free agency tomorrow, a few other things, a few more deep dives, and we'll continue this fun series. So, this is Jordan with Lightning Latest, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.